All right, we're back today with some more before and after looks at rocks that I've tumbled. All right, let's start off with this one. You can see that it is packed with holes, and I actually almost threw it out because I was not sure it was going to be worth the effort. But let's zoom in a little bit. So there's some cool color in this rock, but you can see there are pretty deep holes, like we've got this one here. And then there's a spot here that didn't really polish very well. So this is a rock that will probably just kind of sit in a collection. I don't really know what I would do with this one. This next one though is pretty similar in a lot of ways, but way better. I wish I knew what this rock looked like when it was rough because I really like the way it turned out. Normally when I have a rock that's this sort of gray color that I find, at least here in my neighborhood, it tends to be a little bit on the softer side. It doesn't take the best polish, but this rock you can see took a really nice polish. There's this little teeny tiny hole that I really didn't even notice until I zoomed in on it like this. But it took a fantastic polish. It has some of these cool, I kind of like these lines over here and this like stray line that runs through with that tan color. Next up, let's take a look at this bigger one. So we do have this little spot here that I wish I'd noticed sooner. That crack has held on to some of the polish, unfortunately, but I have a feeling I could get that out with a water pick, you know, the thing you use to kind of get stuff out from in between your teeth. So I don't think that's gonna ruin this rock. Like this one has kind of that color scheme of an old faded piece of paper, maybe like an old map. And yeah, it's pretty sizable, which is always nice. All right, next let's take a look at a handful of rocks that are all similar. These rocks, as nice as they are incredibly fussy. The biggest issue with these rocks is that they have a tendency to chip. So this one here is really cool. I love the colors and the lines right here, even though there are some little teeny tiny holes. In an ideal world, this side here would have been a bit more flat, but as it tumbled, just about every week, a new little chip popped up. And when that happens, you just kind of have to ask yourself, is it worth losing more material to maybe get a smoother rock? And with a rock like this, where there's a chance that you may get more cracks or more chips every time you put it back in the tumbler, it may not be worth the risk. I don't quite know what to do with these. I don't know that by themselves they're really all that nice. But I do think maybe a big bowl with a bunch of these that I've collected over time could be kind of cool looking. So, all right, now this one here. This took a long time. This rock dates back to before I even started this Chronicling Chert series. So I have a video several months ago where I cut a rock, and this was one of the pieces that came off of the rock. I really like the colors in the rock, especially some of these crossing lines over here. So I went ahead and I tumbled it and I polished it, even though it's a bit unfinished still. And I think it turned out all right. It's not perfect, but no rock ever is. So there's this kind of cool whoosh of a dark gray in there, so that's pretty cool. All right, let's take a look at another one. So this one's pretty nice. It has a similar set of colors to that last rock that we looked at. It's got a kind of a unique green that I don't see very often, which makes it kind of special. And over here, there's this almost, maybe I'm just seeing things, but these red swirls are really cool. It's like they've got almost a DNA helix pattern to them. So this is quite a bit more like what I expect chert to look like. You can see it's got these little tiny bubbles here. These are air pockets that kind of permeate throughout the rock. So there was no point in continuing along. It wasn't something that another week or two in the rough grit could have smoothed out. All right. So here we have another one that has some spots that didn't quite come out perfect. So you can see over here where there's the red, there are also these little holes. And it looks like those spots are really only an issue along this red side. So maybe if I tumbled it a little bit longer, they would have come out, but then I would have lost the red. So it's always hard to decide what you want to do. I like the way this one turned out though. Now this is one that I've included mostly to show that a rock doesn't have to be perfectly smooth all the way around to take a polish. This one has some deep holes, but as long as you're good about cleaning those out in between every stage, you can make it work. Now, if you've been around my channel for very long, you know that I'm going to be obsessed with this rock because it has these really cool red spiderweb veins running through it. There is this little spot here. At first I was a little worried about it, but I think it adds a little character. So this is definitely one of my favorites just because I'm obsessed with these red veins. It's kind of cool. It's got some little hints of blue there. So this is a keeper. Now this rock, I really like how subtle the colors are here. A lot of my other rocks have much more vibrant color to them, or they're very dark. This one's pretty light. It's got this kind of cool spot here. I don't quite know what that is, but it's interesting. And some whites up here and kind of a mix of color. Looks like something you'd find in like a high school biology textbook. Maybe like a slice of something organic. Now this is another one that isn't perfect. You can see there's all sorts of fractures, especially on this side, and some holes over here. But I've kept it along because it has this really cool, like wavy landscape pattern to it that I think is just really neat. I do wish this line were not there, but you can see it looks like it goes pretty deep, and there are more all throughout the rock, so continuing to put it through the rough stage probably wouldn't have done any good. I think this was a nice batch. What do y'all think?